This is just such an incredibly important month, and the second half of September, I think, will be even more important, more powerful, more dynamic than the first half. It is very dynamic, very fast-moving, very event-packed, very chaotic. I've got a lot to say about 2026. It is going to be an enormously exciting, dynamic, eventful, fast-moving year. But we are in a very accelerated period of expansion of our consciousness, for sure. And we have had some extraordinarily powerful days, both cosmically, energetically, astrologically, that I just want to recap on. I understand that Poland declared a national emergency. The geomagnetics are very churned up right now. We're heading into an eclipse on the 22nd, and really the energy is full on, because in eclipse season, in fact, it's full on really until the end of the year. This is probably one of the most powerful months, if not the most powerful month of 2025. The intensity will build through the month. We'll feel it even more strongly in the second half. There's just so much happening in our world right now. Just to say, the rest of this year is extremely dynamic, astrologically, cosmologically, astronomically. There's a lot going on.
We're on the precipice. This is an action-packed season, an unprecedented moment in history. There's a lot going on. There are so many comments under every Pam Gregory video saying, "Ooh, I can feel it. The big thing is just around the corner." Maybe it's coming in 2027. Maybe it's in September of this year. Time exists in your perception, guys. The closer you can perceive the big thing to this instant right now is ultimately the only major factor governing the arrival of the big thing. Breaking down the 4D illusion of time in your decoding of reality is perhaps the single most important step in manifesting the life and the reality you want and know is possible for yourself and for the world at large. Let us be clear, as long as you perpetuate the mental concept of a future calendar date as having any significance whatsoever, you are actively preventing what you otherwise say you want from entering your experience. And there is a reason for this. Subconsciously, part of you does not feel ready. Part of you feels unprepared for or unworthy of receiving the big thing, is afraid that the big thing will bring uncomfortable change and uncontrollable variables, or potentially that it might not actually be as wonderful as the feeling its impending arrival promises. If this were not the case, you would already be a vibrational match for the big thing, and you wouldn't be living in anticipation. If you are perpetually affirming the imminent arrival of the big thing, then you are perpetually affirming that the big thing is not yet here, and so shall it never arrive. It will dangle in front of your nose like a carrot before a donkey until infinity. Well, until your death at least, at which point you'll exit the illusion of time and you'll no longer seek an explanation for anything anymore. I laugh at some of these people dropping their age in a comment beneath one of Pam's videos and telling us how they've been waiting since the 1970s and they're certain the big thing is going to arrive in 2026 or maybe 27. There they go, marching after that metaphysical carrot again. Must be exhausting. Watching any astrology channel, why is it always such an action-packed time? Because they are talking about a now that is still yet to come. But all of everything can and will only be experienced right now. Astrology is a great aid to understanding this because the planets, whatever they might be and whatever might be propelling them, they move and rearrange and realign themselves continually in infinite new configurations. There's always something going on. The thing is that it's absolutely unremarkable from a cosmic standpoint. How many times have you heard an astrologer exclaim excitedly that We haven't seen this alignment since 1676, when the people rose up and toppled their arch-nemesis, a pivotal moment in human history. And then the same alignment arrives again and it's Wednesday afternoon. No revolution in sight. Do you recall the last time 7 planets all lined up at 0 degrees of Aries and nothing really happened? I mean, maybe it did for some people, but then they're not here watching YouTube videos anymore, are they? They're flipping 11th dimensional pancakes with the Ascended Masters now. They realised time wasn't a shackle but for their illusory body and temporal mind, and they certainly didn't wait for a specific point in time to have such a revelation. Time is purely conceptual, a way of mentally organising memories of experiences, none of which ever took place any time other than now, when then was now. And all memories can only normally be accessed via your conscious thinking mind, which places a filter over literally everything. Multiple filters, in fact. The only way to remove all mental filters is absolute immersion in the now moment, and by default you cannot think, remember or project without moving your awareness somewhere else, thus reintroducing these filters. This means that whilst time has its practical uses, mentally projecting outside of now is inherently coloured by uncertainty and bias, and exponentially so the further you go. It is well understood that the more times we toss a coin, the more parallel realities are created. But are you aware that this is theoretically also just as true of the past? Just as there are infinite possible timelines branching forward from now, there are also infinite possible timelines which converge up to now. The further you project back, the hazier things become somehow before ultimately being absorbed in the white noise of probability, like the wake of a boat merging back into the ocean's waves behind it. The singularity wasn't the Big Bang. The singularity is always now. All of us know that time drags when we're waiting for something. All of us know that time races by when we're under pressure. There is all the experiential proof you need that time is malleable, and furthermore that it responds to your perception. I promise you, if you practice stillness and get into a mindless state, you will experience no time. Stillness, patience, and focusing on your breath is all you need, and once experienced, you will know, the only way you can know anything, by direct experience, that time absolutely isn't absolute. If your mind protests at this by saying, "But I could stare at a clock face to verify the continual and stable nature of time," be my guest. Let's see how that goes for you. I bet you find time drags. What your mind is in fact protesting is its own faith in the concept of objective time, something you cannot experientially verify. "But I'm aging, that proves time." Part of the program. Like time, part of the rule set. But like time, ultimately illusory and most importantly, entirely malleable. Why cling to these mind-made rules which you cannot verify outside of your own perception? Instead of thinking of a linear timeline, a two-dimensional idea, along which you move at a constant rate, think of yourself as the 0 point in a three-dimensional space, and multiple, multi-dimensional timelines are flowing in and out of you in all directions. Yes, flowing in and out, as well as in all directions. You, the 0 point, do not move. All potential timelines converge simultaneously on you. In comparison to the parallel two-dimensional timelines along which we move model, this makes the concept of shifting timelines or timeline jumps much easier to grasp mentally. Not that that is at all important in actually shifting anything. Logically, the more accurate and relevant information we can add to a model, the better it tends to become at describing and making predictions about reality. So why on earth do some of those claiming to be ascending or awakening still persist with the 2D timeline idea when we know reality to be multidimensional? As humanity evolves, as we begin to assimilate dimensions beyond the familiar first, second and third spatial and fourth dimension of continuity, persistence or time, These things are becoming more common in the daily experience of increasing numbers of humans. Just knowing the correct answer but not knowing how you know. This is fifth dimensional consciousness. Thinking of someone and then immediately running into them or receiving a call. Expressing the need or desire for something and then experiencing that thing without the expected requirement for three-dimensional movement and fourth-dimensional passage of time. It's just there. Becoming aware that something which you used to wish or demand fruitlessly to be resolved has now resolved itself. Creating something, ostensibly from scratch, but as your creation takes form, realizing that it already exists in its entirety in a higher dimension, you're just downloading a version of it which is compatible with your current level of awareness. The script for this video as an example. Waiting for a theoretically forthcoming point in linear time is fine, and makes perfect sense if it's payday or another time-bound event like a holiday or a birthday. But if your desire is for higher dimensional knowledge, world peace, healing or alignment, riches or romance, etc., these things already exist on alternate timelines already layered over your current position in time-space. They cannot be accessed by waiting. So, returning to our original talking point, that perpetual sense of something wild just about to happen is just a single frequency on the radio dial of your awareness. Just a single potential timeline among multitudes of timelines layered multidimensionally over your position in time-space. In the mind-based conceptual understanding of linear time, this feeling should, naturally and inevitably, give way eventually to the big thing itself, but it seemingly never does. This is not, I repeat not, something you can just wait for. You must create it as if it already exists, because the truth is, it already does. Multidimensionally speaking, everything already exists. Every potential outcome, every experience. You must deliberately change the frequency on the dial, shift to the timeline of the arrival of the big thing. Not its coming, but it is here. And you can only do this right now, the only moment outside the illusion of time as past and future, where all potential timelines converge. Collapse the mental illusion of linear time into the singularity of the present moment. Understand that all potential realities are simultaneously available, yes, even the ones where you don't feel fat, sick, tired, broke or lonely. Stop complaining. Stop focusing on problems. Stop making excuses for why you don't live like the facet of God which you are. Stop pushing your salvation back until your mind decides you're ready or worthy. Here's a helpful hint: that time never arrives. And through your presence, imagination and fantasy, you will bring in the reality you desire, that which you deserve, and that which is your destiny. And by so doing, you will raise the frequency of all around you, thus contributing to humanity's ongoing healing and evolution. Welcome to 5D consciousness.